Hey guys. All right. So I am talking today about more family questions. I think it is the holidays that are coming. I have a feeling that's why. I think we're all probably thinking a bit more about like our families and stuff like that. I know I am. So going no contact definitely affects the whole family, not just your mom. And I think that's something that's really important for us to also consider and to expect and brace for. um, Especially if nobody else in your family has gone no contact. That's my situation. I'm the first. I'm actually the oldest of seven siblings, and I'm the first and to go no contact. Um, so yeah, it's been hard for sure at times. Um, yeah, because remember, when it comes to borderline personality disorder, it's never just a mom issue, it's a whole family system that's defunct. I mean, especially when mom's untreated, then, I mean, that means that the people closest to her are enabling her to continue to not get treatment too. Like nobody, like for example, my dad isn't stepping in going like, look, if you don't get treated, I'm leaving you. Like my dad won't ever say that. Um, and stuff. So, and actually the rest of my family, like my grandparents, both sides of my family, um, you know, think that my mom is like almost a saint. um, and that's just, yeah, and I could totally get into that, but, it's the same details in your family, I'm sure, as it is in mine. It's the same drama and stuff. And because borderline personality disorder makes families very complicated, and so when you uncomplicate your life by going no contact, you do have to address, the rest of your siblings and aunts, uncles, and relatives and parents and all of that stuff. So, yeah, because here's the thing: like when you go no contact, you have to remember that um, mom's suffering because you've chosen to leave, and you've broken like the biggest rule you possibly can, you know? Um, I mean, you've done like the worst thing you possibly could do to her, which is to go no contact, and to really go with her abandonment issues. So because of that, it's very likely that your siblings, your parents, your grandparents, whoever who are still involved in her life are going to suffer because she's suffering. And the thing too, and this was what interesting was, when I was growing up, I mean, we had these tensions. I was definitely pushing away from my mom, and I could tell like as I was doing that, how much more uncomfortable it got between me and my siblings when it came to conversations and stuff like that. Because I know that my mom was really making sure that they all knew how much I was hurting her. So I can only imagine my going no contact, them watching my mom suffer. Like my dad explained to me not too long ago that, like, she spends hours every week just sitting and sulking over me, and so I know like almost all of my siblings have seen it, heard about it, watched her grieve. Now they've gone through one season of holidays without me, and now they're about to go through a second one without me. Like, I mean, there's a real loss there. There's a real suffering there for her and for my siblings, therefore. And I'm sure that my mom is definitely making sure that nobody else leaves her by people knowing how much she's hurt and hurting because of her evil brat of a daughter, and stuff. So anyway, but the thing though too that we have to remember is our siblings and our parents, or our relatives, they, those who, they are also choosing to stay in that suffering though. I mean, obviously, I think, some of them aren't aware that what she's doing, is even happening. Like, I know my grandparents have no idea, that what my mom's capable of. They have no idea because they don't ever see her in a rage or anything like that, and stuff. So, um, and then my dad's just in full denial that there's, really an issue, or not full, just, I would say like 80% denial that there's an issue, with her and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, so people, I mean, so some family obviously don't know, and they don't have an idea. And even our siblings who grew up with us, remember, like some of them were treated well, and others, you know, we're not. And but everyone's dealt with it differently and experienced it differently. And so, yeah, I don't expect every sibling to follow suit with me. I would be shocked if, I mean, there's maybe two who I think might actually may go no contact. No, actually, that's not true. I think there's only one. I think there's only one out of my six siblings who would actually probably go no contact, at some point in life. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, so the whole thing. So when you pull yourself out of the family, it's going to be complicated, and it's not going to go well. And yes, people are going to, you know, um, feel pressured to pick sides, because remember, you grew up in a family with an untreated borderline. That means that that there's a huge black and white culture, a bad and good culture, siblings that are good and siblings that are bad, and stuff like that. Um, and so, yeah, so like, the whole like you have to pick sides thing, which is just ridiculous, but it just is the way it is, yeah. And for those who are in denial, they're just like, why can't we just go back to normal? Like, why can't you just accept and tolerate her like the rest of us do, and stuff. So, uh, it's tough. It's tough. So for those who are in denial that, your mom is BPD, when you go no contact, there's definitely a few things I think you need to just expect will happen with your siblings. First off is that you'll get blacklisted. I know, like, I even have, relatives who I'm online, like I'm Facebook friends with, just a few, very few, but just a few. And I'm telling you, like, none of them will respond to me. Like, none of them will talk to me. Um, the only one who does is my grandmother, who's also a borderline, and she's very sweet and very, like, lovey-dovey. But I think but obviously she's also borderline too, and I think she's got some denial stuff going on for sure. So anyway, yeah, but I've totally been blacklisted in my family. The idea of showing up to a funeral or a Christmas party or anything like that would be incredibly awkward in my situation because, again, my mom's untreated. They have made sure the whole family knows that I am lost and I am a mess and I'm a complete screw up and all that fun stuff. Yeah. So anyway, and I think then another thing is you also are going to get guilted and shamed. Absolutely, of course we are. Whether our siblings intentionally do it or not, we have to remember too. We grew up in a family that's how they operated, was with out of guilt and out of shame. Like all the time, and so our siblings are just naturally going to be that at times, like they've adopted some of our mom's characteristics, and so of course they're going to feel like they need to try to coax you back into the family, or be angry at you, or make you feel bad for what you're deciding to do and go, you're weird, you're lost, blah, blah, blah. You're the one with all the problems, all that stuff. Um, and then also, too, that we are the ones who get blamed for mom's pain then, and even maybe as far as getting blamed for breaking up the family, that things were never the same once once April left the family, and mom just started to spiral into depths of depression and you know illness and all that kind of awful shit that people can blame you for. That's obviously a complete lie and not true and stuff like that. Because again, that's the whole thing about a borderline is we grew up in a culture and a family culture where mom was weak, or weak in that way of like desperate, needing us, and so the idea that we would deny that and deny her means that, yeah, of course we're the ones who get blamed. Of course we are, it's just normal. It's the way it would go, so anyway, and so, yeah. So for those who are aware of borderline personality disorder, so like, the siblings family who may be aware of BPD, to them, we are, possibly inspiring, or envied for getting out. Um, I'm sure, like, I've got one sibling who is just is kind of forced to still live with my parents, and I know he's like hardly ever there because he's always desperately trying to just get out, get away, and have a life with his friends and all that stuff, which is really great, so I think the idea that I'm on my living on my own, doing my own thing and stuff is something that he kind of envies. um and then also too, I know, at least for me, and this is the oldest sister kicking in, is the whole importance of being an example of someone that's valuing themselves. Bottom line is, I don't know if you did this, but I know I spent years like trying to convince my family that there was something wrong, and fighting my mom about I deserve to be treated better, blah 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 blah, and of course, it was just awful, backfiring and painful, and just created way more stress and drama than the family needed. So I think that simply by going no contact, but you set the example by just living out your life well, and so for those who are aware that your mom is BPD, that's so important for them to see that, like, that someone says, you know what, I deserve to be treated better, so I'm going to be. And if that means I lose my relationship with my mom, then so be it, and stuff like that. So, and they will be watching you thrive. Like, it's interesting, even though my brothers, I have two brothers out of the six siblings I have who, I have at least a little bit of contact with at this point. And, one of them totally, like, watches my moves and stuff like that and is paying attention to me even if we don't really talk. Like, he's definitely checking in and checking up on me to see like what's going on with my life. It's really interesting, and so I feel like the the only uh, the only thing I can do with my life at this point for my siblings is be an example, and be an example of someone who's growing and becoming happier and becoming more at peace and more higher value of self and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, but enough about them, because here's the thing. when we focus so much on all these other people in our lives, just just like how we focused so much on our moms, when we focus so much on all these other people in our lives, we start to lose ourselves. So we always have to remember, and I know this is hard, I know this sounds selfish, but it's true, is that we always have to keep going back to ourselves and going back to, what am I doing to take care of myself, though? What am I doing to value myself? I need to inhabit myself. Like, what am I doing to make my life whole and full? Regardless of all these other people in my life who are either paying attention or loving me, or people who think I am a piece of shit, and stuff like that. So, anyway, so what do we need to do? Well, I think definitely we have to just continue to be absolutely diligent of building our own chosen family. And if you can have family members in your chosen family, that's great. But if you can't, that is okay too. Remember, like, it's a whole family system that's usually screwed up when you have an untreated borderline, who's running the show. So, um, yeah, yeah. And then we also have to put down boundaries or go no contact with the rest of the family too. The people who agree with mom, the people who don't understand what's going on, I mean, we do go no contact with them as well, a lot of times. I mean, I've still got some relatives who, if they wanted to say hi, like, I would be more than happy to and stuff like that. I know they won't, though. I mean, that's the interesting thing, is that when I went no contact, like, I mean, I lost all of my relatives in that process, because nobody wants to deal with my mom. Like, nobody wants to have her um, find out that I'm talking to them and deal with her pain or guilt, or they believe her, and stuff like that. And obviously, I'll be honest, if family members believe my mom, why would I want them in my life anyway? Like, I mean, who cares if they're blood related? I mean, I'm not going to have people in my life who think that what my mom thinks about me is true. Like, I don't want those people in my life, like, that's not my real family. My real family is the people I choose to have in my life, and stuff. So, um, but for those family members, who you really do wish would cross over to the no contact or stand up for you or whatever, I think we also have to really, or who are also nasty to us, I think we have to really make sure that we just give them grace, forgive them, honor their own unique journey and approach to dealing with mom, and it's true. Not everyone needs to go no contact. I needed to go no contact because of the way I'm wired, and there was just no way I could not do that and be able to function as a healthy, thriving adult, and but for some of my siblings, it seems like they're okay. I think they are, though, compromising. I think they are affected too by having her in their lives, but they don't want to give her up. And it's like, you know what? Godspeed to you. Like, seriously, like, I wish you the best. And, I still love you and I still respect you, but it's just not the way I chose. And as long as you can respect that about me, then we can stay family, So, also too, and this was a really good one that I know my therapist had to bring up to me a few times, is that we also have to consider it just may be years or never um, before we can reconcile with some of our family because we went no contact. Um, I've got a bunch of younger siblings who, it may be another 10, 15 years before they realize that what I did was not out of meanness or just being a brat, or because I have big issues, but because of my own health and safety and need to value myself and stuff like that. And so, you know, but I also know too that I have some siblings who may never ever get it, and that's okay. I've had to learn to accept that and go, that's okay. That's just unfortunately the tragedy of being in a borderline family is some of them just kind of become borderline-ish themselves or borderlines for sure, so um and just, I think for us to also just continue to remember the big picture, because the thing is, it is so easy. It's so easy to get caught up in all the little details and drama around our families because we've gone no contact. And so, because we've gone no contact, this happened or that happened, or, mom accused me of this, or mom said that, or, all that. And I think we just have to get out of the drama as much as possible. And remember, that's why we went no contact, was to get out of the drama and to remember the big picture that, like, no, I'm choosing to focus on my freedom, my healing, my safety, my whole self valuing myself, my pursuit of living a full life. And that's the thing, like, we have the option every single day to choose. What are we going to think about? Are we going to think about what, the drama and continue to get sucked back into that stuff with our siblings? Or are we going to choose to continue to live our lives differently, to continue to grow and build better boundaries between us and our family? So then that way we can continue to focus in on healing and being freed and all that kind of stuff. Um, I mean, I think that's just a choice that we have every day. And so, and I know, man, there's days where it's easier for me to choose that than others, and I'm sure the holidays will be interesting for that, so anyway, but yeah, share your thoughts, comments below, and let me know if you have any questions. So take care.